Пані та панове,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're about to start. Good morning, our guests, organizers, speakers, our participants, everyone who's watching us online. We're happy to welcome you. And here and now, we're about to start our event, bringing together people who create, people who develop, and people who, during this time of great challenge, serve as a real inspiration. So, well, congratulations with official opening of Kiev Impact Entrepreneurs Meetup. A loud round of applause, please. Well, I'm one of those moderators who really want to create productive and creative environment. And I really know that it strongly depends on our mood and our feeling. I will now ask you a few questions about your mood, and you can shout, you can applaud, you can do whatever you want to do. So I just understand how inspired and creative you are.
учасники, спікери, спікерки.
So, dear speakers, organizers, participants, how are you feeling today? I like it, but I feel like we could have done better. And you know how it works. When we come together in the same space to talk about development, to create, then even if you're not really feeling well today, for example, morning traffic, or you had a not really perfect morning, because we always plan one thing and usually it always goes wrong. So if you don't feel 100% energized, so when we come together, those who are 100% energized may charge up those who are 80, because I really feel like here we have 99 and here we have 87. So once again, I see a lot of potential here. We are building the space in which we're going to spend the whole day. So let us focus on development. Let us focus on creation. Because today we're about to have a lot of panels. We will work in several different rooms. We will let you know. But the way we start matters. So our first rule is to smile. Your smile is our indoor sun. We don't care about outdoor weather. We need our indoor smiles. And let's get ready to share the energy and receive new information. So I'm about to ask you again, how are you feeling today? Great, thank you so much for this atmosphere. I'm pretty sure even people joining us on Zoom have felt the atmosphere here in this room in Kiev. And now, for those who are watching us online in Zoom, I want to remind you that you also have simultaneous interpretation. And in order to use it, you need to find the globe icon in the left bottom corner of your Zoom screen and pick your preferred language. As I already mentioned, the organizers have made sure that everything is organized as perfect as possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, our today event happens during the time of great challenge for Ukraine, because Ukraine continues to fight for its freedom, continues to fight for its values and for its independence. But unfortunately, this war is really cruel and we have to pay a really high price. And the highest price Ukraine is paying for our sacred victory is the lives of our warriors, Ukrainians, who sacrificed their life during this cruel war. So now I will ask you to stand up and pay respects to everyone killed in this war with a minute of silence. Military, civilians, volunteers, first responders, ladies and gentlemen, a moment of memory. Thank you. So, we are grateful to all civilians, and it was in the memory of civilians, military, children, and adults killed in this cruel war. But I still believe that we have a bright future ahead of us, and let me briefly share a story with you. This story is really inspiring for me, so I use every opportunity to share it. One military guy once told me, "We know what we're doing here, and we know the price. But still, we're professional in doing our duty, and we're doing our best to bring closer our victory. You are civilians in free cities, in peaceful cities, if this word can be used. You have to do your best to work and plan your future, because if you're planning your future, it means that you believe in us. You're volunteering your donations where you can, by supporting each other, by creating something. Because when we defend Ukraine here on the front line, we're protecting life. And when you're living the way you won't be ashamed when you support each other, when you create something, it's also about life. So if we here together, we will reach our goals. So our event, Kyiv Impact Entrepreneurs Impact 5, is about creation, it's about support, it's about inspiration. This event brings together people, organizations, and institutions who developed impact economy in Ukraine. So once again, a loud round of applause for you. Kyiv Entrepreneurs Meetup is now free, has officially started. And now I would ask you to stand up again, because we're about to start with a very symbolic event, the national anthem of Ukraine.
Дякую вам. Прошу сідати. Все найкраще.
Thank you so much. Please take your seats. All the best and most important things are ahead, because Ukrainians are resilient, Ukrainians are creating, and Ukrainians are the most adaptive nation globally. So, today we have come together to discuss impact economy and solutions that have real social impact, support communities, develop businesses, and help people to regain economic capacity while shaping new level of Ukrainian recovery. Full-scale invasion has changed the context in which businesses, civil and non-governmental sector and local entrepreneurs operate. But at the same time, it has showed how important it is to work together. Recovery and development may not be limited to infrastructure only. It's also about jobs, access to services, inclusion, support of women, community development, rehabilitation, culture, social innovation, communications and trust between sectors. So our today meetup is a space for dialogue, partnership, and practical solutions. Throughout the day, we will discuss the role of impact economy in sustainable development, female entrepreneurship, public-private partnership, inclusive businesses, roles of NGOs in social economy, willingness of Ukrainian startups to raise funding, and rehabilitation as a separate impact sector. We have received over 200 people have registered for event, so we're happy to welcome everyone in the hall and everyone joining us online on Zoom. Thank you for being with us, and this applause are for you. Our today's event is possible thanks to the partnership with organizations who have consistently supported the development of social entrepreneurship and impact economy of Ukraine. So we are grateful to our partners and organizers. Kiev Meetup Entrepreneurs is happy supported by Empowering Women Social Entrepreneurs for the Future of Ukraine project. This project is implemented by Reach for Change as a partnership with SILab Ukraine and Ukrainian Social Venture Fund with the support of the Sweden Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We're grateful to our partners. The event is also supported by Impulse project, which is implemented by International Renaissance Foundation and Eastern Europe Fund with the support of Europe, Sweden, and the support and the applause. We are sincerely grateful to our partners. And now I have one news for you, which is supposed to be inspiring and bring you some smile, because despite this challenging time, the event is happening, and today Kiev Entrepreneurs Meetup celebrates a small anniversary. It's our 5th meetup. We're happy to welcome organizers and partners. 5th meetup in Kiev, by the way. So it's really important for us to start this day with the voices of organizations who are part of this initiative and their partners who participate in the development of social entrepreneurship system in Ukraine, those who support entrepreneurs and help to build a space for international cooperation. So now I invite for welcoming remarks Olena Kalebaba, Chief Executive Officer of Ukrainian Social Venture Fund. Hi, can you hear me? Dear colleagues, I'm happy to welcome you. It's my pleasure to meet you in person. I think it's 5th anniversary meetup, but still every time we feel nervous. Here in the hall we have a lot of people from our projects and organizations we supported financially and non-financially, who studied together with us, who implemented projects with us. Here we also have our mentors who are about to graduate from the mentor school today to better provide mentorship support. And we also have our partners, and we have a lot of people joining us online who couldn't reach us because people from all across the countries have signed up. I was told that I have 3 minutes. I really like to talk, but I want to share with you a story, an inspirational story. As you know, Ukrainian Social Venture Fund was created for the purpose of financial support of social enterprises and impact businesses. Now we have 63 companies. We have supported them during the last 3 years. And this morning I was just thinking about what kind of story I can share with you. Thank you, Anna, for reminding me. So in 2022, 3 months after the start of first key innovation, we started the first social entrepreneur incubator program. We were approached by initiative groups who supplied vehicles to the battlefield. At first they were just delivering them, then they started to repair them, to make sure they are high quality and make sure that these vehicles are really reliable for the front line. That's how Hub Nesemos was created. Back then they had only one garage in 2022. Yesterday we met them, and now our fund and the company had a really important day because right now we are negotiating investments, international investments, not grants, but real commercial investments. Now they plan to scale up 6 cities, 15 outlets. It's a pretty serious step. Maybe Maria is joining us online and maybe she hears me telling about it. But when you think about the impact of your teams, of our communities, and the story is a perfect example of it. Because now we talk about systematic, system-level impact. They work not just with the military, but they also have a civilian commercial component. We're really happy about it, and it's just an example how, in the very challenging context, thanks to the business may develop with the vision and demand. They not just repair cars, they employ people with disabilities. Yes, I'm watching the clock. They work with veterans. And it's just one of the examples. Today you will learn more about other examples in the rehabilitation field, in service industry. So I hope for really productive days, new contacts. Please don't forget to leave your notes with what you want to get and what you're ready to give on our impact wall. And I'm just really happy that I can hug you today because it's a rare opportunity we must not miss. Lena, thank you so much for supporting me and trying to build very creative and inspired atmosphere here. And now I would like to invite Anna Golevska-Chernysh, head of SILab Ukraine office, for her welcome remarks. Hello, everyone, dear friends, colleagues, partners, everyone who is interested in development of impact economy in Ukraine. So you already mentioned 5th anniversary, but for me it's not just about our small anniversary, but it's also about our small victory. Because, well, we are organizing the 5th event during Polska invasion. Over 200 people. It's a real victory for us. So I'm really happy that you are part of this victory. Because I recall May 2022, when we did the first event, we hoped for 70 or 80 people. We hoped we could just come together and discuss. Now we have over 200 registrations, people joining us. And it means that what we're doing matters. It's needed. It makes sense for people. Over the last week, I had several meetings. We met delegation of the European Commission to Ukraine, and we told them that for economic bloc of Ukraine facility, the impact business and social entrepreneurship support becomes a real priority. Yesterday, I attended presentation of second year of Bloom program, which is designed to support small and medium businesses. It's funded by the UK government, and the priority is social enterprises and impact businesses. Last night, when I was getting ready for our meetings, I saw an announcement by Canadian Fund of Local Initiative Support, and they also focus on social enterprises. It means that thanks to our efforts, these isolated initiatives are coming together and shaping a new trend. We shape in this understanding that the challenges faced by Ukraine, by our society, these social challenges may not be addressed in isolation, neither by international donors, nor by local authorities, nor by NGOs and initiatives. Businesses also have to step in. And, well, we don't mean that all companies must become social enterprises, but they definitely must become impact-oriented. And this is the reason I'm so happy that SILab Ukraine and Ukrainian Venture Fund continues to contribute to the development of this ecosystem. Right now, we have 2 incubator programs for social startups. In April, we released incubation program for rehabilitation centers. Right now, we are announcing our Impact Business Accelerator, and in September, we expect an announcement for a very specific program for Kiev region. So I hope that these programs and these interactions will really strengthen our sector, and it will result to high quality changes. And we will see our Ukraine peaceful, prosperous, and developed country. Thank you so much. Wish you inspiration, joint collaborations, and let's wait for common changes. Thank you. So, thanks to support of Sweden government, SILab Fund, together with Swedish partners, can develop social entrepreneurship and ecosystem in Ukraine. And now I would like to give floor to Katarina Nilsson, First Secretary of Sweden Embassy into Ukraine. Please, the floor is yours.
Дякую, дуже приємно.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Good morning, Miss Katarina. But well, we're filming you, so please come a little bit, just come a little bit closer. I will be using English.
Good morning, everyone. It's delightful to be here. Sweden is a long-term partner to Ukraine. We are here. We are supporting in any way we can with military support, civilian support, but also our presence. We are working here. We encourage Swedish organizations and companies to collaborate with Ukraine, and we support with long-term funding. And this meetup, this project, is an example of Swedish support. And I love meetups. There are conferences, there are seminars, there are formal meetings, but meetups is something special. It really builds on collaboration, exchange, and mutual learning. We all know that so much money is needed for the rebuilding of Ukraine. I read this figure regularly, like 600 billion US dollars. This is impossible to understand what this means. Sweden supports with development funding 1 billion per year. So we all see that private funding and other funding streams than development funding is needed for the rebuilding of Ukraine. And here, the private sector, companies, small and medium enterprises, and not the least impact businesses are so much needed. I think impact entrepreneurs like you or in the ecosystem that you work is going to make a real difference for Ukraine long term. And from a Swedish perspective, we are so proud to be your partner, to support, but also to learn. We have a lot to learn from Ukraine. And I think by combining Swedish experience and funding and Ukrainian adaptability and creativity, we can achieve a lot together. So thank you for being here today, and have a fantastic meetup.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Katarina. And now I would like to give floor to a director of organizations that has consistently promoted the sharing of Swedish experience and development of impact economy and social innovations. So please your applause to Sofia Breid-Koltz, the director of Reach for Change. Please. Please, Ms. Sofia, joining us in line. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. It's a true honor to be here with you today at the Kiev Impact Entrepreneurs Meetup number 5. What a success with the 5th year anniversary here. I want to begin by thanking our hosts and partners, the Ukrainian Social Venture Fund, SILab Ukraine, and the many supporters of this initiative. the Swedish Embassy in Ukraine, and the Swedish Foreign Ministry, partners from the Impulse Project, the International Renaissance Foundation, the East Europe Foundation, SIDA, and NORAD, and everyone who has supported to bring this gathering together. But above all, I want to acknowledge the entrepreneurs, innovators, community leaders, and the change makers in this room, and the ones joining us online, over 200 participants. Yesterday, I read about the story of Dasha, who had planned her wedding dress for the past 3 years and found the perfect wedding dress for her wedding. She took the dress to an atelier to be altered in a Kiev shopping mall, and she left it there. And after the serious drone attacks and horrific nighttime attacks of Kiev this week, the shopping mall was destroyed, along with Dasha's dress. She posted about this on social media. I'm sure many of you followed the story. And hundreds of women came to her, offering Dasha their own dress. And she was also offered to pick up a unique piece from a Ukrainian designer the next day. Now, for me, this is a story about community. One of the millions of acts of service that the Ukrainian community does every day. And it also leads me to think about true solidarity. And that is why I believe so strongly in the solidarity economy. An economy that is built around finding solutions and building an economic system where we can act in community, solving the challenges we face today. Social entrepreneurs and impact entrepreneurs embody this sense of community. They know they can find solutions to acute problems and failings in the system that can help people and the planet. And they also build sustainable business models around them that contribute to the economy. These entrepreneurs are also, and they embody resilience. When there are no critical services for those injured or for veterans, they step up. When there needs to be innovative models for care, for education, and for social services, they step up. But they also are there to create businesses around beauty, fashion, creativity. And you as female entrepreneurs in Ukraine today, who are also represented in this audience, you not only embody community, solidarity, and resilience, but you are also breaking barriers, changing structures and biases that have hindered women from fully participating in the economy. You're challenging gender norms that will create a new and more inclusive economy and society, and you're doing that very quickly. And that means that once we move on towards rebuilding and reconstruction and building again, you will be part of rebuilding in a way where both men and women have the same economic opportunities and empowerment. And at Reach for Change, we're so happy to be partnering with SILabs and the Ukrainian Social Venture Fund. Together, we want to partner in supporting Ukrainian social entrepreneurs, especially women, to access the business, the know-how, the coaching, the tools, and the capital to build your businesses. But we also want to connect you to expertise and know-how in the Swedish business community. We want to demonstrate for you all that you are not alone, because resilience is only maintained when we know we are supported. So before I close, I want to say this directly to the entrepreneurs in the room and joining us via Zoom. Your work matters, even when progress feels slow, even when resources are limited, even when uncertainty is overwhelming. The solutions you're building today are helping shape the future of Ukraine tomorrow. And to all the partners and supporters present, our responsibility is truly to continue listening, investing, collaborating, and creating the conditions where these entrepreneurs can thrive. Because sustainable recovery will not be built from the top down. It will be built from the ground up by communities, innovators, and courageous individuals who choose to act in solidarity. Thank you for allowing Reach for Change to be part of this journey alongside you. And I really look forward to today's conversations, ideas, and collaborations. Thank you.
Дякуємо.
Thank you, dear Sophia. Thank you very much for support, and thank you for your welcoming address. They are so inspiring, and we are deeply convinced that our event is going to be a really progressive and advanced. Future is not where we are heading to. Future is what we are building together. So we are going to continue. And the first strategic question is about your mood. Are you in high spirits? I liked one participant's reaction. First, he was kind of surprised, but then he smiled sincerely and started clapping. Thank you very much for that. I think today we're going to enjoy a very creative atmosphere. It's about development, it's about collaboration, it's about new life. Thank you very much for your participation because every event like this is an integral element of our future. And now let me briefly outline our today's agenda because today we are going to talk, to discuss, to exchange opinions and experience, to learn from each other, to complement each other's knowledge. And the most important thing during such events is to be open and ready to absorb new insights. So, very briefly about our agenda. The main session is going to start in the main conference room. It will be dedicated to the impact economy as a driver of sustainable development and dialogue between Ukraine and Sweden. In this conference room, we are going to host the key panel discussion. And after this panel discussion, we'll split in three groups. And every group will discuss its own topic in an individual conference room. There will be workshops and discussions, so you are free to choose the topic you prefer. You will see the science, you will hear the instructions from our moderators, and you will find it very easy to navigate. So the main conference room will continue working, but the audience will split in three groups. If you are confused, don't hesitate to approach us. We'll help you. After lunch, we are going to come together again in the same conference room for the final discussion and our nice performance presented by Veterans Theater. There will be the play in Military Mum. Then you can also enjoy networking. Please come up to the tables, leave your contact details, and briefly explain what you are looking for and what you can offer. So it's about expertise, about pilot projects, about social projects, or maybe you just would like to find some like-minded people, because that's really important for everyone. Today's event has been designed as the platform for insights and practical interaction, contacts, and collaboration for our country, for our future. So once again, a round of applause. Kiev Impact Entrepreneurs Meetup number 5. We are going to start, and now it's time for the first session. Impact economy as a driver for sustainable development. The dialogue between Ukraine and Sweden. Impact economy is not just a niche topic. It can be an individual policy aimed at the country's recovery. For Ukraine, it is important to see not only challenges but also solutions. The business can integrate social responsibility and strategy, and international experience, in particular Swedish experience, can be helpful for Ukrainian communities, entrepreneurs, and institutions. So, hopefully, you are going to support our panelists. And now I'd like to invite the First Secretary at the Embassy of Sweden in Ukraine, Ms. Katarina Nilsson. Competition and economic cooperation. unit from the EU delegation in Ukraine is Irina Hubarets, and the head of international programs and projects, advisor to the chairman and of the management board of Oshad Bank, Mr. Yaroslav Demchenkov. Executive Director of the Union of Ukrainian Entrepreneurs, Ms. Katerina Glaskova. Project Manager at Business Sweden Ukraine, Mr. Yevgeny Shakotko. And our moderator will be Anna Goldevska-Chernysh, chair the board at SILab Ukraine. Thank you. Okay, Yevgen is going to join us online. We hope that he is with us. Yes, great. He is here and he is going to participate. Okay. I'm happy to announce the opening of our first panel discussion. Maybe it's not a panel discussion, but a blitz dialogue. We've got just 50 minutes for that, and in the end, I would like us to be on the same page. I would like us to clearly understand the concept of impact economy and social economy and their positions globally and in Ukraine. Before I approach our participants with questions, I would like to ask a question to you, the audience. Please raise your hand if you can explain to your neighbor what impact economy is within 30 seconds. Yeah, I know that you can. Please do not be shy. Somebody can do it. Okay, let's test it. And now I would like to demonstrate the QR code on the screen. If you scan this QR code, you will get a link to Mentimeter. Please try and write just one word associated with impact economy for you, for your perception. Just one word. Can you scan it? Okay. 10 seconds more for scanning. Yeah, I see that everyone is busy and engaged. Now we can check the results. Let's see what associations arise when you hear this word. Influence, impact, social entrepreneurship, improvement, responsibility, again responsibility, resilience, assistance, future, impact for local communities, values. Yeah, but we see that the majority of participants feels that impact is associated with influence and improvement and development, because these are the words we can see in the middle of this word cloud. So, in the end, we would like, in the end of this exercise, let's look at the definition. We need to be on the same page. Impact economy is an economic system where social and environment influence is created, measured, and assessed along with financial results. Businesses, investors, governments, organizations, and consumers make decisions being guided not just by the considerations of profit, but also positive changes for people and the planet. So, along with the financial outcomes, quality changes for people and the planet and the environment become more and more important. In terms of the European Union, the most common term is now social economy. In 2023, the EU adopted the action plan for the development of social economy. It's a strategic and political document which highlights that the social economy covers organizations and companies that value people and social or environmental goals higher than their profits. They reinvest the lion's share of their revenues in some activities in the public interest. 21 countries of the European Union have already adopted their action plans for the development of social economy, and I do hope that Ukraine, as a country striving for the EU membership, will also adopt such a document. So now we understand better what those concepts mean, and let's discuss now what's going on. What is the status of impact economy globally and in Europe as well as in Ukraine? I would like to start with you, Ms. Katarina. Sweden is currently the champion of impact economy, social innovations. Could you please share what helps you, what tools, what mechanisms, what programs have helped Sweden to achieve this level? And what are most useful recommendations that Ukraine can apply during this full-scale invasion for supporting resilience of community and for the post-conflict recovery? Thank you for your question.
And I think there are several factors that make Sweden so successful in this field. We have a very stable society with stable institutions that support impact economy and the development of businesses in a very structured way. So that matters. But there is also a social trust. There is trust in institutions, there is predictability, there is trust in the policy making, like policies or let's say rules or frameworks are set for quite a long period. So there is trust in the system. Those things apart, there are financing models, both from the state, but also venture capital, private capital in combination. So I think if I shall answer what Ukraine can take from this, let's not copy our system. I mean, you have different preconditions, you have a different society, you have different, but let's see what we can take and adapt to the Ukrainian preconditions. And for that, I suggest building a comprehensive ecosystem. This is why I'm saying this is now I see a lot of targeted support for fully understandable reasons, that we want quick results, we want project results that support Ukraine now. This is super important, but we also need to build a system where we build these different institutions together with the companies, together with the entrepreneurial and business organizations, civil society, academia and research. These together form like an ecosystem that can generate impact entrepreneurship and new initiatives through collaboration, through being different perspectives to the same platform. So I think this we can do. So not just focus on individual results, but look at the bigger picture.
Дякую, Катерина. І продовжуючи міжнародний напрям,
Thank you, Katarina. And now over to Irina. From the point of the European Union, what's going on today? I already mentioned the action plan and other things, but generally, what is the mood, what are the priorities, and what are the programs for supporting impact economy or social economy? Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Well, definitely the EU member states highly value impact economy because Europe is currently facing a number of challenges such as climate change, armed conflicts, inequalities, demographic discrepancies, and so on. Therefore, it is important to find new solutions to address those challenges. In this respect, impact economy offers new approaches to understanding economic priorities and social welfare. The community and the individual human being is on the top, in the center of attention. Over 4 million entities of a social economy provide employment to over 12 million people, and this is a huge percentage. In some countries with the most developed impact economy, like France and Italy, this sector generates nearly 10 or even 12% of GDP. You have mentioned the action plan for the social economy development. This action plan is implemented with the purpose to double the contribution of social economy by 2030 via 10 priority areas. Last year, this plan was subject to provisional assessment, and 15 countries have developed the common definition of social entrepreneurship. Many countries have made registration of social entrepreneurship easier, and they have come up with other ideas and initiatives to speed up the development of social entrepreneurship. And there are also some regulatory improvements. According to the assessment, the innovation sector, green innovation, digitalization sector are demonstrating high level of progress. There is still room for further development and investments because economic solutions and social benefits offered by the impact economy can be scaled up and advanced. So, in the next 5 years to come, it is important to continue harmonization of the legal and regulatory framework across the member states. It is also important to focus on the funding, on training of high quality staff that understands what impact economy is, and this is also important to scale the initiative up. The social enterprises can play a very important role, especially in the economy of care, which is highly relevant for Europe in the context of demographic changes. Then it can be about circular economy, combating shadow employment, especially employment of women and youth. And now let's talk about Ukraine. In spite of war, our business grows. New companies are being registered, demonstrating their trust in the future of the country. Of course, this development depends a lot on the external support. Social enterprises work with complicated categories of people, with veterans, with IDPs, and therefore they need new, experimental, and to some extent creative solutions. The lack of funding is recognized as a big hurdle because the banks do not see the social enterprises as lucrative clients because they are not predictable enough. Maybe some of them are not able to offer any collateral. Maybe they are just startups and they do not have a trustworthy credit history and so on. We understand it on our part, and therefore our priority is to increase the number of programs within, for instance, the European Investment Framework, which is the main source for funding private sector at the moment. There is a plan to increase the number of programs and the number of social enterprises. And the funding should also be increased. Thus, we're going to work with the partners, with the venture fund, with the national development entity via the European Council Bank. And we are going to focus on microfinancing and microfinancing institutions with the aim to develop an impact economy, scale it up, and offer comprehensive approach rather than individual pilot initiatives. We would like to ensure larger volumes of funding for this sector. Recently, the European Commission has adopted the strategy on overcoming poverty, and the impact economy has been mentioned there. Ukraine has become a member of the European Social Fund, and very soon a big pan-European competition will be announced, and the Ukrainian companies will be able to participate in this competition. I think we will make the respective announcements on our websites and via partners. Therefore, I believe there will be more opportunities and more tools, offering more inspiration for all of us to work together at this difficult time. Due to the development of social companies, our country will remain resilient. Thank you. Thank you. As far as I see, Mr. Yaroslav has demonstrated the desire to react. But first, I'll ask a question to Katarina. By the way, dear participants, we will have 5-7 minutes for Q&A session. So, Katarina, SUP. This is the biggest business organization in Ukraine, business association in Ukraine. In your opinion, are your members going towards to the social entrepreneurship under any initiatives? I've heard that you've got a veterans community. Is this a sporadic initiative or this is a general trend? What's going on? Thank you very much for this question. It's very nice to be at such an event dedicated to social entrepreneurship. I can say that, in fact, there are many more social entrepreneurs in Ukraine than we can expect or imagine, just because they do not identify themselves as social entrepreneurs. Why? Because this is something new. I mean, this definition is new for Ukraine. And in terms of trust mentioned by Ms. Katarina, I think that even after war, this indicator has not changed significantly. The level of trust to micro and medium business was equivalent to the trust to the armed forces. And this started even at the time of the pandemic of COVID-19, and the public institutions lag behind in this level, in terms of this level of trust. At that time, business undertook the responsibility. Local companies created the support centers. They procured medical equipment. They arranged transportation for the employees. So they did a lot for their staff and their communities. And at the start of the full-scale innovation, we felt that business plays a great role in this support. Who is the first to come to the deliberated territories? Nova Poshta, Rosetka, Bank, maybe no. I'm asking about the deoccupied territories, about liberated territories. So business is always on the front line, including the small enterprises. They make companies, they make coffee, they bake bread till the very end. And from the point of view of economic impact, it's not a lot, but it's really significant in terms of the social impact. And now let's get back to your question about the Veterans Initiative. We've got for about 1,500 members within our association, and we feel that something should be done for veterans, for those who create or start up businesses, and those who resume their business activities once they've been engaged in business before military service. This category of people needs support because business has to be sustainable. They need guidance, they need some instructions because everything changes, the context is changing, the laws are changes, and so on. We have many committees, and one of the committees is called the Committee for Veterans Business Support. Generally, we have no membership fees. It's our way. We decided to help the companies free of charge. We as a business association also work on the legislation which is going to support the business of veterans. Although the veterans often say that they do not want to be isolated or somehow distinguished. But as Katarina says, it is important to have the comprehensive, multi-layer approach to working with the business of veterans and generally veterans community. And a couple of words about social responsibility. Let's recall our winter. It was very cold. It was not our first winter with blackouts, but this winter we saw many companies that invested hundreds of millions euros in alternative energy sources. Diesel power units, diesel generator is a must now. It's something really basic, but many companies also started investing in alternative solutions, cogeneration units, for instance. But why? Not just because they have to continue the operation, but because they must. And they started also opening some hubs for people. People coming to the office could bring their relatives with them because if there was no electricity and heating in their apartments, they could bring their relatives and children to the office where they could enjoy some electricity and warmth. This is the sustainable system where business plays an important role. And you'd better stop me here because I can talk endlessly about Ukrainian entrepreneurs. Okay, thank you, Yaroslav. The question for you, it's the question about money. In your opinion, what is the largest obstacle today for the development of impact economy. Lack of resources, some faults of mindset, lack of political will. What about financial institutions? What do you think? To what extent our financial institutions are ready to work with the social entrepreneurs? And are you considering creating new financial tools for social entrepreneurs? Irina has already mentioned many challenges. They are small, they are new, they have no resources. So, what can you do to support them? Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here. Good morning, everyone. Chat Bank is a very well-known bank. It's the second biggest bank in Ukraine, and when Nova Post and other companies come back to the occupied territories, they need incassation, they need other operations, they need banking services because generally the operation of any region is resumed when the armored vehicle of Ashat Bank comes to the region, and bank, of course, has adapted its operations to the challenges of war, just like the business has. We have ESG responsibilities, and we have the respective strategy. And I've been asked whether we measure social impact. Well, at the moment, we have the KPI. We don't have clear KPIs of social impact, but in every product now we try to assess what is the social and environmental impact, and we assess every product in this light. So if we have to choose between two businesses which we are going to fund, we would prefer the business that creates more jobs and helps the community to develop. So this is our priority. Currently, we work in three segments, namely corporate business, like energy, defense. We are the largest bank that funds the defense, and we and there are impact entrepreneurs. Among them, there are those who assemble drones and develop technologies for destroying drones. We fund such companies, and it's very demonstrative that 80%, nearly 90% of our funding before war was aimed at public companies and state-owned companies. Now we have switched rather to the private companies. They do not call themselves social enterprises, but in fact they hire veterans, they hire IDPs, and they work in the territories where people where workforce is scarce because people are leaving these territories. I have already mentioned the energy projects. As the energy crisis started, our generating facilities, our distribution facilities, big substations were destroyed or damaged. And businesses started procuring generators, and we, together with the government, with the National Bank, developed the response, and we funded procurement of generators for business, for critical infrastructure, and in the energy sector, our loan portfolio was overwhelmed with funding these generators. Although we were aware of the fact that business model of such projects was not really attractive because the price of fuel is very high and the generator is enough just to produce electricity for one coffee shop or for one cafe. But still, with the help of our international partners, first of all, the government of Sweden, the government of Norway, we provided funding via energy community, and the European Commission was the initiator of this fund. It was created within the jurisdiction of it was not in the jurisdiction of Ukraine, therefore the procurement is independent, and we realized that we have to change our portfolio, so we started focusing on sustainable energy, wind power plants and storage facilities. In a consortium with other banks, we have funded huge storage facilities owned by the tech. Now we work with both sun and wind energy, which can be stored. And now in the corporate segment, we focus mainly on green and sustainable economy. We believe that this is our contribution to the impact economy. The next segment, we work with small and medium business. A year ago, on the website of Oshad Bank, we announced the week of social entrepreneurship. During this activity, we answered the questions related to the development of social entrepreneurship. We have lots of definitions, descriptions of mission, innovations, and so on. You know this terminology, but generally we focused on various models of social entrepreneurship, including inclusive entrepreneurship. We also described the cultural innovations, healthcare services like superhumans. They are engaged in prosthetics. They asked for funding, and first of all, we checked their financial model. The colleague from the Swedish embassy mentioned the important factor, namely predictability. That's what we are focusing on too. Many companies are striving for grants, and many social enterprises are fully reliant on grants. And also some municipalities depend on grants. And once grants are not provided, the project has to be closed down and people lose their jobs. Therefore, the impact cannot be achieved. So the bank, like any other financial institution, focuses on financial models. We have to understand the cash flow and expected profit. The social enterprise is not a charity organization. It cannot be fully reliant on grants. Then it won't be business. Banks regard the social enterprises as full-blown businesses. Yes, these companies can be supported also by the state or by the international partners in form of grants, risk sharing, consulting related to the project design and so on. But in fact, this should be business activity, business operation. And now we understand that this corporate segment, including huge projects like MHP, I believe that this is social enterprise as well. They have lots of programs, social programs, ESG programs. They are great, but I think that the impact economy will be formed predominantly by micro, small, and medium business. And in terms of SME funding, we consider definitely we consider definitely the element of ESG within their operations. And of course, our third segment is retail business. We've got 1,300 subsidiaries. Of course, we work with everyone, with veterans, and it is important to ensure inclusiveness and physical accessibility and digital accessibility of the subsidiaries of branches, bank branches. So, impact economy also must be inclusive. And both physical and digital accessibility are really important in this case. Let's come back to the players. Who are the key players? The players are those who develop the mission and ideas. The good idea is not enough. The idea should be sellable. And in this respect, the bank or an international financial institution have to assess the business plan, the business model. They have to understand when they can expect the return on investment. Because let's say we have invested the project, but there is no return on investment. Then the bank will be responsible for that, and the bank, we as a state-owned bank, won't be able to pay the dividends to the state, and if we don't pay the dividends to the state won't be able to use the dividends, and then we'll face with maybe some investigations with the state investigation bureau. They will ask us, why did you invest a project that did not bring any profit. That's why we have to assess all the risks in advance. Otherwise, we will be held liable. And there is also a question of regulation. The national regulatory authority, the national bank, can loosen some rules for or mitigate some rules for the social enterprises. But let's get back to our KPI. How can we measure the social entrepreneurship? There should be clear criteria for measuring social entrepreneurship, and these criteria have to be considered by the bank as well. And it may be an additional advantage of the company, which will speak in favor of its funding. The question is not about the amount of profits, but about social impact. So, social enterprises cannot be void of a monetization obligation, but the banks have to focus on that, and the companies can focus on the products, on the sharing products, and we have many products for the social entrepreneurs. We have different products for different companies. Thank you very much, Yaroslav. We've been talking about criteria for many years. It would be great, perhaps, to introduce a legislative definition of social entrepreneurship and its criteria. Maybe in the first stages we do not need an individual law, but perhaps we need some common definition for the banks and for the local self-governments. Maybe it's time to come back to this initiative, because it was actively promoted before the full-scale invasion. Perhaps together with the financial institutions, with the cabinet of ministers, we have to consider in what way social entrepreneurship can be regulated. And now we have another participant, Yevgen. Yevgen, you have a slightly different organization, which is different from those represented by the participants here, because your you work as project manager at Business Sweden in Ukraine, and the goal of your organization to assist the Swedish companies in accessing the market of Ukraine. And Evgen, we have the following question for you. How does the Swedish business evaluate the business climate in Ukraine, given high level of uncertainty in our country? Do the companies evaluate the financial indicators only, or they also envisage some humanitarian or social challenges? Are they willing to invest in those aspects as well? Because you know in what circumstances we have to run business today. And what is your vision for the future? Do you think that impact strategy will be considered by the Swedish companies when they make a decision on working in Ukraine? Hello, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for your interesting questions. I would like to start with saying that I agree with Ms. Katarina Nilsson, who said that Sweden is not only politically but also economically present in Ukraine. Historically, Ukraine has not been a priority market for Sweden, and I'll explain you why later on. But today, this has drastically changed. Since the first day of Business Sweden operation in Ukraine, we have registered a huge number of requests from the Swedish companies. They are really interested in entering Ukrainian market. Let's explore history a little bit. Sweden is an export-oriented economy, and some part of a big part of products are exported, nearly 50% in some sectors. So imports have a great importance for Sweden. Ukraine has not been the priority market before full-scale invasion for many reasons. Because trade was highly dependent on prices and individual agreements. I would like to specify three factors that contributed to growing interest of the Swedish companies. The first factor is their wish to make a change, to contribute with their expertise and facilitate Ukrainian recovery. Next, growing demand for sustainable high-tech solutions that basically can encompass economic effect and social elements. And the third factor, of course, is that the aggressors' countries' market was closed for Sweden. Therefore, Swedish companies had to look for other markets. When they say that Sweden is present in Ukraine, we can rely on clear statistics. 100 Swedish companies are present currently in the market of Ukraine, and Sweden is a pretty big investor. It ranks 12 in terms of direct foreign investments. Business Sweden communicates with the Swedish companies that work in Ukraine. Today, last year, we made a survey dedicated to business climate. And according to the survey, for about 30 companies present in Ukraine now are planning to increase the amounts of investment and expand their presence. As regards the difficulties, we think that this is a very big number of interessant. Ukrainian Swedish companies understand the risks existing in Ukraine, but notwithstanding these risks, they are still planning to expand their operations in Ukraine. And I would like to give you an example of economic expediency, which is important for Swedish companies. There is a project funded by Sweden via NEFCO. It's about safe destruction of damaged buildings in the city of Irpin. Swedish suppliers of vehicles and construction equipment, Sky and Volvo, are the key players in this project. This case demonstrates really well that in Ukraine the price factor does not matter that much any longer. The companies are now more interested in full cycle solutions, and they also look at the environmental and social factors. So the price is not enough to make a decision. Of course, Swedish solutions are typically more expensive than the similar proposals from other countries, but the Swedish companies have certain advantages which are highly on demand in Ukraine. At the moment, we can demonstrate high flexibility. And the full life cycle cost is one of the factors that is considered by Ukrainian public actors in procurement campaigns. So the Swedish suppliers may offer high tax solutions that have a better impact on the communities and environment. So the Swedish companies can become the suppliers for Ukrainian municipalities and companies that are engaged in public procurement. The big number of Swedish companies are willing to work in a Ukrainian market. They fully realize the difficulties and the risks, but we, in our turn, do all we can for the Swedish companies to find their niches, to find their partners, and hopefully they will invest, they will build their enterprises in Ukraine. The majority of projects run at the moment relate to the sector of commerce, of trade, but I think that there will be more cases that will have positive impact on the Ukrainian community. Thank you again. I will make a small announcement. It will be a kind of a bridge to our further discussions. If you are interested in Sky Company, please visit our workshop dedicated to female entrepreneurship, which is awaiting us after the coffee break. Unfortunately, we don't have any time for Q&A because it's time for the coffee break. Hopefully our experts will stay for the coffee break and you will have this opportunity to communicate. But finally, I can ask the final question. What should happen in Ukraine in the nearest future in terms of legislation or in terms of infrastructure that would provide even greater impetus for the development of impact economy? So what this event can be? who could start? I think each and every of us should become a social entrepreneurs. We can found an enterprise, so we can buy an enterprise, so we can support an enterprise. I have. I'm going to participate in a master class dedicated to driving. And I will go to Alona's school, and my payment, my donation will be spent on veterans. So everyone should make his or her contribution, then we will be able to promote social economy.
Say, I don't have enough knowledge about the Ukrainian legislation to say something about that, but I would like to focus on the Swedish side, where I would like to see kind of organized engagement from the companies to come here more. Like, some companies hesitate for natural reasons to travel to Ukraine at this stage, but we are trying our best to encourage companies, industry organizations, and other types of organizations to come here and see for themselves that this is a very, very creative and interesting market, and a lot of very competent companies and individuals to collaborate with now and later. So don't wait, but come now.
Honestly, I am deeply impressed by the audience. Nobody is sleeping, nobody is playing with the smartphone. You are so active. You are very active because you are representatives of business, of civil society, and they understand pretty well what the impact economy means. I want your strength to help us change the regulatory framework. We, the banking institutions, should be able to assess your cases not only from the point of view of financial benefit, financial gain. No, hopefully we will be able to see the measurable social impact. So the financial institutions that are willing to fund you should be able to see the measurable social impact, and it should be seen not as a risk but as the benefit of your projects. Thus, the funding will become more available for you. And of course, banks are willing to see predictability, but you also would like to enjoy the predictability of financial system. You would like to be able to get funding anytime, and this can be done once you present the measurable social impact. Oh, my colleagues have already said a couple of words, but we are a business association of a huge experience. We know how to work with legislation, with the local and central government. We are open for any partnerships. Let's work on legislation. And we have lots of professionals who can contribute. Then I have another comment about businesses Sweden. Our association can be a platform for foreign companies. Maybe some foreign companies have never been to Ukraine before. They do not know who to trust, who to communicate with. So we can be useful in this respect too. And what else can be done to develop this sector? I think we should discuss it more broadly. We should demonstrate the success stories and particular cases. There must be KPIs KPIs. There must be dialogues with the media. So communication is very important. Eugen, are you with us? What would you like to say? Thank you very much, Ms. Katerina, for inviting us to join your platform. I can say what factor is most critical for Swedish business. It is important to work further on procurement of recovery solutions. So full life cycle solutions can be considered in more detail. And there are some other issues like technical maintenance, environmental impact, disposal in the end of the life cycle, and so all these factors should be considered when you procure. The Swedish companies can offer the socially important technologies and solutions. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Let's thank our participants, our panelists. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you have got enough inspiration for the rest of today. And now over to our moderator. Thank you. Thank you once again for this session. Thank you for your important insights. I think many of you have come up with new ideas and desire to interact and communicate. This is the main goal of our event. We would like you to communicate, to interact, and develop something together. We have to we are running out of time, so I'll be brief. We are going to have coffee break in a couple of minutes. Then we'll have three different sessions in three different conference rooms, and the hosts will help you with navigation, and you will see also the signs giving you the titles of the workshops. And a brief announcement: in the A conference room, you're going to enjoy female entrepreneurship topic. After lunch, there will be discussion dedicated to the role of civil society in the development of social economy. Then B, public-private partnership and models of cooperation for recovery. After lunch, here we'll have a workshop on impact investors' expectations. And in the C conference room, you will listen to the competitive benefits workshop, and after lunch there will be the discussion of impact sector from international experience to local experience. And if you need interpretation, please take the headsets. And let me kindly remind you that in the end of the event, please give the headset back to the hosts. And by the way, please grab your things with you, because this conference room will be rearranged. You will have now 20 minutes for communication, and I'll see you during the next sessions. Have a nice day. Thank you.